that has allowed me to have any success, so to speak. I'm definitely very much like still in the stage of like growing pains and learning. That's always going to happen. But I think the biggest things for me is, number one, I really haven't given up. I'm not afraid to ask questions. I think not being afraid to ask questions and being willing to take risks is massive. Like yesterday, I reached out to Art Basel and I was like, hey, how can I get on your virtual gallery? And I just asked the question, right? A lot of people might fear doing something like that, or they might fear reaching out to that artist that has like 1 million followers. And it's like, what's the worst that's going to happen? They're going to say no, or they're not going to answer. But if you don't take the chance, you're not going to give yourself the opportunity. And so I think a big piece of it is just being willing to like open conversations with people and kind of, it's like hitting on somebody at a bar. Like, you know what I mean? Are you going to be the person that's going to walk up and say something, or the person that isn't? And, you know, we can apply a lot of things in business as we do to life, where it's all about making connections. And in order to make those connections, we have to ask questions and we have to be open. And then on the other end, you know, I think it's taking a very, very targeted approach. So, I mean, it's not as if I have a massive following. I think between my 3 Instagram accounts, I'm getting pretty close to 5,000 followers between 3 of them over the course of a couple months, which is pretty good in my opinion. I'm not really sure how these things work. I mean, I'm selling art, and I'm not really selling like my modeling career or anything at this point either. So it's, you know, it's not the same as kind of coming in as an influencer, but learning the algorithm, focusing on the algorithm, and really, you know, curating my audience has made a big difference. I remember, you know, one of my biggest moments this year was someone added me on Instagram, and when people add you on Instagram, it has like the little suggested people, and the suggestions were like Artist Project and like Mocha Toronto and like the AGO, and I was like, okay, like if that's who's coming up with me, I know that I'm doing it right. And it was like one of those little moments where it was a really, really big win, just to know that countless hours that I spent following and unfollowing, and, you know, or the weeks I spent being locked out of being able to hardly do anything on Instagram because I got a little bit too eager one day. It's kind of paid off in its sense. And to be honest, like almost my entire roster came from Instagram. I owe so much to that platform, and I'm so grateful for the way that it allows me to connect with artists all over the world. So if I put it into a nutshell, just like drop the fear and take a risk, be willing to say hi and make that first move and open the conversation, and be passionate about what you're saying. And if you are, I think people are willing to hear it. And on the other side, it's, you have to understand your business and your market. And, you know, in today's day and age, social media is so important to any type of business, especially in the creative world, and especially during a time when we're all stuck in our homes. So, you know, I think that learning that technical piece on top of having that passion and having that drive, and not being afraid, that I'd say those are kind of like my top 3 things, if that makes sense.
Definitely. And I think that our audience will really appreciate that feedback. And I think the points that you're saying are so valuable, and some stuff that I've been preaching as well, like as part of my company. I think that our missions are aligned there. What are your thoughts on cold emails? Do you believe in them, or is it all Instagram?
And what? Sorry? Do you mind just repeating that? I kind of missed that.
Like, what are your thoughts on cold emails? Do you think that Instagram is better or email is better? Or like, would you just stick to Instagram, or how?
So I think it really, really depends, because for me, I've had a lot of success when it comes to actually like direct messaging with people on Instagram. But I think, again, then it takes like knowing your audience, right? I've been able to connect with really high level individuals at art galleries through Instagram, but if I sent that message and it fell on deaf ears and I didn't hear back from them, then I would definitely send a cold email. I think that in a weird way, Instagram has become more convenient, even for myself. I answer a DM before I answer an email. Emails are kind of like, you can kind of do the Instagram thing on the go, whereas like I find emails are almost more time consuming. You want to sit down at your laptop, you want to think about it a little bit more. And I think especially in the art world, And just with today's generation, we are able to be a little bit more casual, where, you know, with one of my kind of big business moves and, you know, even how I think we in a sense connected has kind of been like, everyone's on the internet right now. And, you know, you can kind of just send out a message and be like, hey, I'm not really sure what you're up to right now, but I'd really love to collaborate once the world gets going again. Like, there's kind of different approaches that we can take, I think, especially because, like, at least 50% of our society is living on social media right now. So I think it's also a timing thing, and then also knowing, right? Like, if you're reaching out to a really, really high level gallery, you're going to want to probably send them an email, and you're going to want to make sure that your pitch and your deck and your portfolio and those things are attached to that. But if you're reaching out to an artist and their business is on Instagram and that's what they do, you're going to be a lot more likely to connect. And then you're also, like, more so approaching someone in a casual and personable way, where it's like, let's collaborate, not, hey, I want to make money off of you, if that makes sense. And, you know, I think you and I kind of spoke about this, like, previously as well, where, you know, not being a money driven individual, having a more casual approach, I think is very important to me in particular. And that's part of the reason why I do as much as I can through Instagram, because I think it allows things to be more personal and more casual in a way.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. And I wanted to talk to someone else who has that background about that perspective, because that's something that I'm feeling as in my personal experience as well, working with people.